Okay, don't get me wrong, Boris's model on a horse is very, very cool, and it's a shame that most players will actually never see it, but why is he so much smaller than these? Anyway, let's not look too closely at that. Today I've got a land battle. Kislev, all horse, no bear, against Nurgle, of course. Nurgle's lack of anti-large. I'm going to try and abuse here. Gojira is coming in with 2 Soul Grinders. He's got Healing Herald plus double Nurgle. Herald, or sorry, Cultist. Yeah, obviously. We've got 5 Nurglings and 3 Forsaken, along with 2 Furies. For myself, 4 Dervishes, 4 Horse Archers, 3 Winged Lancers, Horus on a horse, Frost Maiden on a horse, and Patriarch on a horse. Yes, it'd be better to have them on bears. I'm going for a specific meme here, you know? And, yes, also Griffin Legion as well, as you saw there. We're going to get things started, immediately just come forward, start skirmishing, start trying to find gaps and holes, get some good charges in here. The main thing, of course, about Nurgle, lack of any sort of anti-large, is these all-cavalry builds from Kislev actually can be pretty effective. This one definitely would be better if I had bears mixed in, but I wanted to go all-horse just for fun. And, man, that Plague Mortar just doing insane damage actually forces one of my Horse Archers into its passive already. We're going to pop Swift Wing, though, on some Winged Lancers. Just try and crump these Nurglings as quick as possible. We'll keep the health bars up as the charges connect so that we can try and judge the damage. Yeah, it seems like cavalry charges are maybe not dealing as much damage as they should. I don't know. Once they actually stop charging and start to do attack animations, they'll do quite a bit of damage, but Rancid Visitations on them going to do quite a bit of damage in return. Boris sweeping up and around, trying to get back at the Soul Grinders. Soul Grinders do have pretty good anti-large, though, pretty good armor piercing. No anti-large, but they can sort of act as an anti-large type unit, especially in single entity fights, with just that good weapon damage. So, like 3v1, 3v whatever it is, yeah, 4v1, 5v1 potentially with both the Cultists and the Herald. Not great for me, so I'm definitely going to try and pull away from that, but have started to crump some Nurglings in the front line. Forsaken I do have to be careful of. They're countercharging in here, getting some pretty good damage. And the Forsaken in general, with their high charge bonus, countercharging back into cavalry will do quite a bit of damage, so I need to avoid that as much as possible. Boris, I'm forced to burn his little area of effect damage pretty early on, direct damage, because he's kind of getting stuck up in these Furies. I would have liked to have used that on a more unholy blob, hitting more units with it, but that's okay. Horse Archers charging in, taking some damage, trying to pull back just to annoy whatever units in this backline that we can. Hopefully keep those Soul Grinders from doing too much damage as well with their ranged attacks, but just a lot of cycle charging, rinse and repeat in and out with the Winged Lancers. I have to say, I love this Brotherhood of the Bear color scheme, the like kind of green and teal. Looks very, very good in my opinion, but anyway. Rinse and repeat, cycle charge. We're starting to take some damage, though. Pretty significant damage, and I'm getting a little behind on the balance of power. These Kosovo Dervishes, honestly, were committed to this melee engagement for a little bit too long, but we finally do finish off one unit of Nurglings. A little bit of friendly fire from the Plague Mortars is to be expected as well, given their inaccuracy. So if I can force that friendly fire, it will be a pretty big benefit to me. But staying in combat a little bit long against these Forsaken and so forth, too. The Horse Archers, though, just pulling back. Some of them still using their ammunition. We've got the Summoned Plague Bearers that once they run out, Nurgle will actually be quite a bit thinner on the ground. That balance of power should equalize a little bit there. Not to mention, I have the capacity to heal Boris back a little bit. I think I've already maybe popped one of the Salyak Prayers. Salyak's Lullaby. Hopefully we'll get another one soon. Let's see. Griffin Legion pulling back. Having a hard time disengaging. This is another thing about trying to execute an all-cavalry build like this. Like, yes, it can be done, but the cavalry not being able to disengage cleanly, you definitely feel in this type of a situation. But anyway, Boris coming in, Righteous Strike. And man, actually, okay, so now when they stand side by side, he doesn't look that much smaller. It's just, and those are what, the regular Winged Lancers. Are the Griffin Legion just that much bigger? Okay, so now the Griffin Legion charge in. We can kind of compare them side by side. Oh, no, he's the same size as them, too. That's so weird. Maybe it was just a trick of the perspective there that he looked so much smaller in that particular circumstance. But maybe it's the shields, too. Shields do make these guys look a little bit bigger. Strange. Anyway. Boris is here, though, with the support of the Griffin Legion. They're able to come in and just about break some of those Forsaken. Certainly the Nurglings should be gone soon. And despite what the balance of power may have you believe, another really nice... See, this is more of what I wanted, is to hit some more high-value units. We're able to probably finish off these Forsaken here with that Shard, Blade, a little bit of a bombardment as well from my caster. Fortunately, the Patriarch is getting handled by the Herald there. Herald, of course, even if he was on the Bear, the Patriarch still probably have a tough time just from the armor-piercing damage of the Herald, but... yeah, we've almost taken out the Cultist here. If we can rout them, that's great. They will be regenerating, so if we can get them off the field and, you know, escort them away, so to speak, that will be quite beneficial. But collapsing this last pocket of Nurgles, Forsaken, Nurglings, yes, actually involved with this as well. Yeah, looking pretty good so far. I mean, it's certainly dicey, and I'm not sure I have enough left in the tank to kill the Soul Grinders, but perhaps if we could isolate just the Soul Grinders and cycle charge with Boris, I should be able to at least kill one of them, hopefully both of them. It's going to be tricky, but we did rout the one Cultist, so we're going to detach the Griffin Legion, try and chase him away. Continuing to just, again, cycle charge, name of the game. I wish I was playing Bretonnia, to be honest. This would work a lot better with Bretonnia, probably, but it works pretty well with Kislev, all things considered. Could you imagine this, though, with, like, Albric and just lots of Bretonnian Knights? Oh, man. I can't wait for the other faction to get added, guys, to be honest. It's going to be so much fun. And if Nurgle doesn't get Halberd Warriors, they're just going to have a bad time against Bretonnia, I think. But if they do, they should have a little bit of a better time. It'll be interesting. That'll actually be a matchup to keep your eye on, because Grail Knights in general are going to be really good against most demons. Because of that magic damage and high charge, you can just crump them in a way like a lot of other units can't. But here, unfortunately, it does look like we're going to run into army losses. All my cavalry is just so tattered at this point that they can't really hold their leadership together. So even if I could get a good engagement with Boris, I don't know, it's going to be tricky. We're able to keep routing some units off, though. Routing off these Forsaken here. Routing off the Cultist still, not allowing him to come back. We got a whole bunch of units back from route right here. So hopefully that means we can come in and start to finish some of these units, but we'll fast forward a little bit as I kind of regroup, pull back around. Nice Rancid Visitation on the Patriarch. I did manage to get a heal onto the Frost Maiden there. She's currently frostbiting the Soul Grinder, but definitely shouldn't be hanging in combat with him. That being said, while the one Soul Grinder is sort of isolated away from the other single entities, we're going to charge in the Wing Lancers and with Boris try to get a little bit of damage. Really nice, I forget. Not Pestilent Breath. It's Stream of Corruption. That's it. Does some pretty good anti-cavalry damage. Boris, again, just can't stay in combat 3v1 here, so he's got to pull away there. First, the Slug debuff his speed and his charge speed. Try and keep him locked in combat here, but there's army losses, so wasn't even able to finish off a single one of the Soul Grinders. Oh, maybe, actually. Boris does get his passive, so he's going to become unbreakable, and why not at this point? Just let him fight it out. Yeah, I like Boris's horse model. I know he's like the Bear Lord, right? So you would almost never see him in this particular kit. And don't get me wrong, he's better on the Bear. But even on the horse, he does still have anti-large AP and pretty good weapon strength. But anyway, that is the end of that. Very fun stuff. Well played, Goji. And I think my meme was a little too meme, with some fine-tuning and with some slightly more sensible picks. This would actually work out pretty well, I think. Like, you could honestly just cut one of these Winged Lancers straight up and just upgrade all these guys to bear mounts for that cost, and that would make them all quite a bit better. I mean, Boris in and of himself was able to do a lot of damage. I mean, he's certainly paid for himself. He could have done more, but with the extra armor piercing and armor, these two would dish out a little bit more damage to the Soul Grinders, and they also would be taking less damage incidentally from the, the Summoned Plague Bears, from the Forsaken and whatnot. So definitely it would be better to have these guys on Bears, and in hindsight, probably one unit of the Bear Riders would make sense in an all-cavalry setup like this to just give you that elite anti-large AP punch, because I generally lack that here. Thought Boris would be enough. In fact, he was not, because double Soul Grinder is pretty good. I know Gojira is a big fan of the Nurgle Soul Grinder. Mortar attack can be very effective, and certainly it does give you a strong armor-piercing single entity that's reasonably fast, that can fight in a number of circumstances, give you sort of a Ursat's anti-large unit, so to speak. Anyway, the rest of the build here, the cultists were able to limit pretty well. One of them does pay for themselves, but the summons also we don't get to see. Probably did quite a bit of damage. The Herald also, he's a tough cookie. I mean, he could dish out quite a bit of pain in return as well, especially with those Rancid Visitations. It's some pretty good damage there. Nurgle Forsaken, force to be reckoned with. Definitely a very strong infantry unit. The rest of the build here, Nurglings don't pay for themselves. They provide a nice speed shield, though, and allow the Forsaken to kind of countercharge in. Furies are just sort of here. I mean, against an all-cavalry build like this, they don't really have a lot of place other than to try and chase horse archers and get shot by them. But anyway, hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I know I sure enjoyed playing it. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time.